This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. We've just read the,
Probably should read it again.
did they?
Well, if they didn't hear it.
Everybody on mute?
It was us.
We were.
Anybody offended if we don't read the opening statement again?
Let's not make another technical error. We don't want another one, just read it. Go ahead. Good dress rehearsal, by the way.
Need some practice.
Yeah. Please take notice that the town board of the town of North Elba and the village board of the village of Lake Placid will hold a joint public hearing on Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023 at 4 p.m. at Town Hall, 2693 Main Street, Lake Placid, New York, to consider a local law to amend the village of Lake Placid, town of North Elba land use code. The text of the proposed local law is available for inspection by any interested person at the offices of the village clerk or town clerk, 2693 Main Street, Lake Placid, New York, as well as www.northelba.org and www.villageoflakeplacid.ny.gov. All interested persons are invited to participate in the public hearing and will be given an opportunity to be heard. The meeting will also be available via GoToMeeting, https://meet.goto.com/LPV, or dial 1-872-240-3212, code 690-687-301. Signed, Lori C. Dudley, Town Clerk, and Anita A. Estling, Village Clerk.
What was that again?
Thank you, Anita.
Very well.
I take it we'll run things as usual and.
Yep.
All right, you're still in charge.
Do we have anyone present here who would like to speak at this public hearing?
I'd like to speak. I'm
Please.
sorry to be, I'm Danny Baker, I'm sorry to be a late comer to this conversation, but I just read the law for the first time in the beginning of December and wanted to just thank you all for all the work that you're doing since I moved home. It's really clear that short-term rentals need to be addressed in town. There's obviously a shortage of labor and housing for labor and housing in general in town. And I really support your efforts to restrict short-term rentals in residential areas. But I was concerned about the impact that this would have on folks who live here year-round, and that I felt like they would sort of miss out on the ability to be prioritized for permits and to occasionally rent out their house if they're a snowbird and want to go down to New Smyrna for a couple weeks to get some sunshine. I'm afraid that they would miss out on the limited number of permits. So I'm hoping that you'll consider something like carving out something for people who live here year round so that they can occasionally rent out their house without having to go through the same process and pay the same fees as someone who might operate several short-term rentals in town. I'm sure that maybe you've considered this in your conversation before. I know that in the law previously, I think the current existing law, there's a 14-day limit where you don't have to pay a fee. I'd suggest that maybe that's a little bit limited in terms of the days, and that if if there's a limit on the number of permits that somebody can access, that might prohibit local folks who live here year-round from having the ability to access that anyway. So I'd suggest maybe a different cap on the number of days and prioritizing locals for those permits.
Yeah, this isn't a forum where we can really talk, it's for you to talk, but I read your letter to the editor. Can I get a contact number from you so I can call you and give you the part you
Yeah.
don't have?
Yeah, I'd love
I'd love that. Here's my card if you want, just use it.
Sure, great, appreciate it, thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else here who would like to speak? Is there anyone online who would like to speak? You may raise your hand virtually or to the camera. No one at the moment.
I think we'll hang on just a couple minutes, make sure, was there any discrepancy on,
But it was only Andy Flynn and he has joined us, so.
Okay. so there's no one in the cloud?
No,
Okay.
I heard people telling me you were muted, sorry about that.
Where's my shirt? Yeah.
Janet or Mark, do you have a suggestion on if no one has any comments, how long we should keep the meeting?
You don't have to keep the public hearing open any certain amount of time, if that's what you're asking.
So,
Seeing how there is no further comment, I'm gonna take a motion from the town board to close this public hearing. Moved by Dick, second. Emily and Jason, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
and motion to close the village portion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will close the village portion.
Thank you very much, folks, for attending. And
22 minutes.
both our representatives are here. I wonder, can we move it
No,
to start earlier?
people are.
You're afraid of that?
Well, it's in the paper.
With public
Been that way
notice is
before.
4:30.
Yep.
So for everyone online, the next discussion will start at 4:30, which will be a seeker discussion.
Katie? You're-
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
Jackie, as a housekeeping matter, it's our understanding that the village council has already adopted a resolution deferring lead agency status for purposes of SECRA to the town board. Is that understanding correct?
Janet is on the call, so I'm going to refer to Janet.
There she
Janet.
is.
The answer is yes, but I wanted Janet.
I'm
to-
here. Hi, Janet.
Hi, what's up?
We just want to confirm that the village council has in fact adopted a resolution deferring lead agency status to the town board. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I think, Anita, you can provide a copy.
Yes, if you'd like that, sure.
Thank you.
I'm guessing this is the way to let you guys off the hook
What's that?
for the seeker
But
process.
I mean, if you don't want to sit through it, but obviously you're welcome to sit through it.
I'll stay put.
Yeah.
We have a board
Be here
meeting,
anywhere.
so. Where else would we want to be?
Well, that's a great
That's
thing
what
to
Dad was
hear.
waiting to hear. That's what he wanted to hear.
Dan, I think since you can now talk to a lot of what you're asking for, if we wanted to do, but it comes under what's the one?
Easy minutes.
Prejudice, or you have to treat everyone the same. We are not allowed to make one offer.
Yeah, I know.
So it's,
But how would this?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I just turned around and was like, do that.
No, really, we don't need that. Yeah. I don't want to punch that. He said stand. What's good for your office? Love the angle though. Every time he's in there, it's always looking up. and I got
20 minutes, they
some
wanna run around the lake.
Only you can run around like that.
We definitely have different paces.
To say that we won't make them so we're all gonna
Mix it up.
Boy, when you're on.
So the way that they did that, coming from DC, the way that they had to go from the main to full body. But they drew a distinction.
But
between
then it's
vacation rental. I mean, that really defines it.
So, what's those games?
I think you're supposed to buy like,
Not that one there. Did you get the other two?
You may just have to open it up.
For some reason, usually when I get things, I put it right in my calendar, and I didn't know what you said, and I only had those two essentially going for
That'd be the only way around that.
And then we go where?
so if somebody.
She heard big.
No, I didn't. Who's going to, oh, is that where, that's, no, she's not, just you.
Well, Sean Gillies.
Yeah. That was only for 25 people,
Oh, that's, I remember that person.
that party. It is the welcome with all the FISU.
That sounds like an important.
I think I got it right.
No, this is for the.
Yeah, you should have a number 6 on your credential.
Oh, yes, it has an application.
What's it called?
It's,
now it's.
I did send in a picture.
But it's only you, so so it's not your kids.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right,
Well, I mean, the tickets are now 40%.
50% for my class president.
You know, it's somebody tried to use because I got calls yesterday, everybody's at a short-term thing. They were closed out programs. So apparently it's got
Yes.
and there's a new.
Did you pay full price?
Yeah.
And that's probably where
This is gonna be a public relations thing.
No, not most. Which is about nothing more than
I'm, my Facebook was blasted.
So you incremental and extended.
Yeah. Every time I open it, it's at 40%.
PFR, look in your junk. Not,
Oh, okay.
or your spam, PFR. It would be coming from PFR.
So the VIP pass is just good for us.
Just you, Sarah.
But Sarah got
You just gotta buy it.
13 years. Well, this
Did
is
you find
supposedly.
something? All right, let me give you the date that I got this.
All our venues already. It's already modern.
Because some of us have already done that, and now we're.
40, 50 on the one.
Oh, yeah.
I got it emailed to time. Jan, I saw it on Facebook. I don't know if I've seen any credits anywhere.
No, I was a part of it.
Jason, the first invitation would have come out in December.
meeting for our seeker review.
As far as part of the village, I will open the village board.
All right, at this point, Mark and Jackie, I'd like to turn the meeting over to both of you folks.
Okay, so we still have both boards here, just out of
Yeah,
curiosity.
Jackie, I just want to say for the public that doesn't know, Mark Shackner and Jackie White are the town's legal representation, if you haven't seen their faces before. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. All right, so we've confirmed that the village has deferred lead agency status to the town board. The town and village, for purposes of review under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, have already designated this project as a type 1 action, and prepared a part 1 of what's called a full environmental assessment form. It's the longer of the forms that are used for secret review purposes. So everyone should have that, and we believe it's had that for quite some time now, the part 1. And our job tonight is to review part 2 of the SECRA full environmental assessment form. And this is the town board that's conducting this review, again, because lead agency status has been deferred to them. For the part 2, there is a series of questions, and for each one of them, the town board is going to answer no or yes. If you answer no, then we skip the sub questions and move on to the next general question. If you answer yes, we then have to go through the sub questions and determine whether a no or small impact may occur, or whether a moderate to large impact may occur. And again, the purpose of this exercise is to determine whether the adoption of this local law is likely to result or will result in significant adverse environmental impacts requiring the preparation of an environmental impact statement, or if it will not result in such impacts, issuing what's called a negative declaration and allowing you to proceed on consideration of adopting the law. The full environmental assessment form can be a little clunky, in our opinion, when you're reviewing it for purposes of adopting legislation, because the form really, in our opinion, envisions an actual project, digging in the ground and building stuff. And that isn't what's happening here. So it is a little clunky. Bear with us as we go through them. But if you're ready, we will read the questions for you. And then you can decide, again, no or yes for the bigger questions. And then that will indicate whether or not we have to go through the subsections. Does that all make sense?
Jackie, I have a quick question.
Yep.
The answers of yes or no, do they have to be unanimous by us board members?
No, we were just about to add, you don't have to vote on it. It's by consensus. So,
oh, yes, it's not a formal vote.
Right. It can be a formal vote if somebody wants it to be, but that also is very clunky. So the answer is no unanimity is required. If 3 of you feel one way and the other 2 disagree, too bad for the other 2.
Fair enough.
Okay. Are you ready?
Jason, are you ready?
Born ready, Emily.
We're ready.
So number 1 is impact on land. The proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. Yes or no?
That's a pretty clear no.
No.
Good start. You're on a roll.
All right, so turning to 2. Impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, I'm hearing no from several of you. 3, impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, turning to question 4, impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay, moving on to 5, impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in the development on lands subject to flooding.
No.
Okay, turning to 6, impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emission source.
No.
No, okay. That means we're turning to 7, impacts on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, I'm hearing again no's. Turning to 8, impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay. Turning to 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or are in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. No or yes?
No.
Okay, again, hearing all no's. 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource.
No.
All right, turning to 11, impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay, again, hearing no's. 12, impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay, turning to 13. Impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems.
No.
No.
Okay, again, hearing no's. 14, impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy.
No.
Everyone a no?
More electricity.
Okay.
Whether it's a house or whatever, I'd say no.
5, impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. No or yes?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. 16, impact on human health. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. No or yes?
No.
No.
17, consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans.
No.
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 And 18, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with existing community character. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so you've now completed all 18 questions of part 2, answering no for each and every one of them. At this point, because you've answered no to each and every one of them, it would be appropriate to consider a motion to determining that the project will not result in significant adverse environmental impacts, issuing a negative declaration. Again, because you have said no to each and every one of the 18 Part 2 questions.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Or a negative declaration, correct? Or on this in action, sorry. What one is it?
You broke up a little there, Emily.
Oh, I said, is it unlisted action or negative declaration? It's unlisted action.
No, it's a negative declaration, and that what that means is that the project will not result in any adverse environmental impacts.
You're gonna move that or negative declaration?
I was so.
Okay. Second by Rick Preston. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Jason? Carrie? So that wraps up this section of that line item. And at this point then, we can have a discussion for the possible adoption of proposed local law number 1. Is that correct, Jackie and Mark?
That is absolutely correct, sir.
That's correct.
And so we can also invite the village back into the conversation.
Exactly.
Wait a minute, the village board has not convened its village board meeting. That won't happen till 5 o'clock. So the village won't be taking any action until it convenes its regular board meeting at 5.
Can we talk about it though?
Well, this is not actually a village board meeting right now, is it? It's a town board meeting at which the village board was asked to listen in.
It's a joint board meeting.
Okay, did you notice it as such?
Yes.
And notice as such that the potential for action could occur.
All right. But it's on the agenda for the later meeting, for the
Okay.
village to act on.
In case we didn't act on it here.
Well, I'm okay with the village okaying it twice.
Well, I think we can.
I'd be more comfortable if the village acts on it at its regular meeting.
Right, Derek. Yeah, Derek, we shouldn't care. That should be fine with us. The town board is currently engaged in a properly noticed town board meeting. The town board can discuss this issue as much or as little as it wants, unless we're missing something, Janet. The town board can take it.
Mark,
Hang on. Unless we're missing something, the town board can take action at this time if it wants. But you're suggesting that the village board should not take action until at its regularly scheduled 5 o'clock meeting. And unless we're missing something, that's fine with us.
That's right.
That's
Very
exactly what I'm suggesting, Mark, that the town board is fine. I'd prefer that the village board take it up at its regular meeting as per the agenda.
Fine with us.
That sounds good. But if any of you have comments, it's welcome. For me personally, I believe this process has been both transparent and really thorough. As you know, we have, I don't want to say stalled, but we have slowed the process down considerably over at least 3 different issues that came up, let's say on both sides of the fence, that I feel we've each addressed well, and I think we're each fine with each other's direction. Certainly if there's any concerns here, maybe right now would be the time to bring it up. But for me personally, I think we've covered this phase 2, if you will, in an area that allows us to draw that imaginary line in the sand that looked after the concerns in the neighborhoods and still protected a faction of this economy that we've all benefited from. So we found, I believe, the limits on both sides, at least for the near future. It doesn't mean there won't be issues that come up that need an amendment here or there. but I think this is a much better law than our first go around. So for me personally, I'm ready to move forward tonight.
I'm ready to move forward, and the things that I'll add is that I don't think there has been more time and dedication than on any other subject in town or village history. So just to know that I'm thankful to my town board members for all the effort that they have put into listening to me go in circles, sometimes coming back to where they started, sometimes not. But I mean, the amount of thought and hours and just, I think, like internal deliberations that we've all had to get to where we are now is significant. And part of me hopes that I never have to deal with something like this again, but I know that we will, because I know that we always learn things, and I'm sure that we'll learn something from this law, and maybe we amend it in 3 years. And so I want to be open to the possibility that it maybe isn't perfect. I hope it's close to perfect. And thanks for everyone's time.
I'm gonna jump back in real quick because, Emily, it's no secret. We wouldn't be here without your leadership and your knowledge of both housing, codes, everything. I think the village has to recognize the same thing in what you gave us all. You've been in this town hall this last year as much as I have. And so personally, I thank you.
Well, how far back did this go? It's not a year or two. How many years has this really been looked at?
I wrote the first law in 2006.
Yeah.
As an
And
intern.
if I could include you, Dietrich, too. I mean, I've been at this for 13 years. The two of you have been, thank you very much to both of you.
The village board's point of view, Jackie was great help to us with her background. Thank you.
Yeah, no, your review board, everything, no, without the three of you. We thank you very much.
So with my motion to move forward, would I have
We have a resolution to read.
all right,
The only thing I would mention too is you mentioned 3 years. I think enforcement's going to become a big portion of that. That's hopefully going to change in the coming year. And in a year's time, maybe less than a year, we can look at this just like any change to.
And I do think that I sent Anita the STR compliance monitor roles to distribute to the village board, because in that, there is like a monthly report that she will be giving to both boards, and then a year-end report as well. And so maybe that's the first place that we see some changes in the laws. Oh, this isn't working the way that we thought it would be with enforcement,
Right.
and we need to do something a little bit different.
Because I'm guessing if you're no different than us in deliberations, we got about a third of the way into this and the issue of enforcement came up and it stalled us right back to square one, because if you can't enforce, then what's the point in even sitting there? So I'm guessing you guys came to that same conclusion. So let's see where that ends up in the upcoming days.
I urge the village board to do the same that I've asked the town board to do, and that is set a date for an annual review, at least annually, review of how far we've come. Should we change direction? Should we make amendments?
And I know it's not exactly what you're talking about, but in the monitoring report, I think we asked that for it come in October.
Yes.
And so that's kind of like an internal date that we have for ourselves, that in October, we're going to really reevaluate the law as a whole, plus the enforcement aspect of it. Is it doing what we thought it would do?
Yeah, hopefully early October would be good.
Yeah, and I really support that. I know we've had some conversation about making sure the monitoring is tight and we have those review points. So I think that's going to be really important for us as we go forward.
Is there a date that code enforcement normally would have their changes, or does that just come as they need it? It's not on a schedule, or is it on a schedule?
you mean other than our monthly?
Like the code enforcement has little tidying up issues. Instead of and, they want are, or, things they come up against. And if time to time we're asked to change them. We did those not too long ago.
Right.
Is there a schedule for that, or do they just wait till they've got a bunch and then ask us to do that?
Typically, that's the way we respond,
Okay.
when there's enough to act on.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like this could coincide with something like that. Okay.
And there's no reason it couldn't.
No, but I think this is good. Let's October's a great time. Let's see how it works.
Sure. You want to do the honors? Listen, I got to read that organization.
Saving his voice.
You have to read it all too.
All right, it says resolution number 1, correct?
Yes.
Introduced by myself. North Elba Town Board Resolution adopting local law number 1 of 2023, amending the Village of Lake Placid Town of North Elba Land Use Code. Whereas the North Elba Town Board wishes to consider adoption of local law number 1 to amend the Village of Lake Placid Town of North Elba Land Use Code as related to the regulation of short-term rentals pursuant to New York Minnesota Home Rule Law and Town Law, which authorizes the town to adopt regulatory provisions that advance and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. And whereas the town board has determined that adoption of this local law would best enhance and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and community of the town of North Elba. And whereas the proposed local law is a type 1 action under 6 New York CRR Superior, and this board undertook review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act and adopted a secret negative declaration. And whereas the proposed local law was forwarded to the Essex County Planning Board for its recommendation pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239M, and the County Planning Board indicated that no community-wide impacts. And whereas the town board duly held public hearings on the proposed law on 3 dates that I will insert in there and heard all interested parties. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved, the town board hereby adopts local law number 1 of 2023 in the form attached here 2. The board hereby authorizes and directs the town clerk to file the local law with the New York State Secretary of State in accordance with the provisions of municipal home rule law and acknowledges that the local law will take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. Upon the local law number 1 becoming effective, the moratorium on short-term rentals in the town of North Elba as established by the town of North Elba local law number 6 of 2022 shall terminate. Duly adopted this 3rd day of January 2023. The only thing I'm going to change in that, and sorry, Mark and Jackie, that I didn't get a chance to look through this before, is we had talked about it with the building office and we decided that the effective date would be January 9th, which is Monday, if that's okay with the board. So we can just edit that resolution, Chelsea, for the record.
Does it need to be filed with the Secretary of State?
Yeah, but we send it overnight, so it takes we'll send it overnight tomorrow.
Yeah, so they'll get it. We won't get the confirmation back, but we'll have proof that they got it.
Privately.
Yeah, and so it will take effect January 9th.
That's fine.
Thank you.
So we need a motion in a second.
You making a motion?
Sure.
Second by Dick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Jason Leon opposed. Did we save the item like wait list for our regular meeting? Okay. Any further comments or anything from Village or?
What are you gonna do with your free time? There's been a lot of meetings, hasn't it?
It's helped Lori and Chelsea get the minutes done because there's never been a year where there's been so many meetings and they'd really like to fire me.
Plus, if she's bored, she can come and work for us also.
Yeah. You guys have plenty of time. Come up, Derek, come up with some more meetings.
Mark and Jackie, I'd be remiss if this town board didn't also thank you tremendously for the guidance along the way. I know there's a direct line between Emily and you guys that hopefully will last for years to come, but we sincerely appreciate your efforts all the way through this. And I'm gonna assume that this village and town are on, let's call it a leading edge to coming up with some very good founded laws that will help guide a lot of the state and maybe the whole region as a whole.
Thank you.
With that being said, I think probably I can entertain a motion to end this review. A motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
seconded, Jason and Rick. No further discussion, all in favor? Aye. On behalf of the village, do you want to duck out of this officially?
Yeah, did we open on the second? I'll make a motion to close the village portion.
And anyone who wants to join the town and
All in
village
favor? Aye.
regular meetings after this, go to those individual links. So the standard town board meeting link and the standard village board meeting link. Thank you.